Hello, my name is Jay Johnson.
And I'm Dr. Richard Hansen.
Folks, here it is, SAM Phase 4 Hard Day. And in my opinion, there's a pretty big jump from Phase 3 Hard Day up to Phase 4 Hard Day.
Yeah, these are going to be a little bit more challenging. Hopefully at this point you've gotten decent control over some of the movements you've seen. Some of this will be repetition, but there is an increased neurological component to them.
All right, so when we're talking about neurological component, we're having people do this after workouts, after long runs. What is the rationale? I know that there's going to be some sprint coaches out there that say, wait, why would you be doing this type of work when you are in a fatigued state?
Yeah, you can do it both times, right? You could do it before a workout to get the tissue engaged, but after a workout while you're operating under fatigue, you're trying to maintain your reactive strength and improve your neuromuscular control while you're tired, which translates to, like, if you're doing a 10K, a half marathon, as your body starts getting fatigued, you still need to operate with good mechanics, good control to delay that onset. So stuff like skipping, stuff like the whiteouts and mountain climbers that you'll see in a little bit help reduce some of that lack of mechanical control that you might have as you start getting tired.
So folks, we have gone from building your leg strength and your hip strength in phases 1, 2, and 3 to now doing some plyometric type stuff. So here she's moving laterally and then going to run out of that. Folks, we've got 4 sets of mountain climbers. So you're going to have to pay attention here. There's singles in, there's singles out, there's doubles in, there's doubles out. Is it fair to say, Dr. Hansen, that doing 40 mountain climbers with these runouts is going to be pretty challenging?
Yeah, and if you notice, her back tends to round a little bit. Her pelvis pops up a little bit higher than I would have liked on those previous mountain climber exercises. Just making sure that you're focusing on some of that control, where even though you're tired, it's after a workout, you're still paying attention to the mechanics of the movement that you're incorporating.
Yeah, so this is some serious work here, folks.
Yeah, and the goal here too, like we've said with previous jumps, is make sure you're landing shallow. The goal is to get off the ground quick. So we're trying to train good control of the hip, good control of the knee, with some explosiveness at the end of the day.
All right, Dr. Hansen, we've talked about this in the past, but I think it's worth hearing again. Why are we training the core?
Well, when you see some of the traditional abdominal exercises like a crunch or a bicycle crunch, it's a lot of repetition motion. The plank, while you're moving in extremity, tends to translate a little bit more into how you're using the core when you're running. You want it to be a static corset with all the muscles creating stabilization and synchrony of movement at the spine so that you can get a little bit more explosiveness and freedom of motion at the extremity. So by stabilizing the core here as one single unit, but then you're moving the extremity, you're challenging it very similarly to how you would with running. Now, nothing's going to completely mimic running as if you were running, but it's operating at a lower metabolic output comparatively, but still mimicking it very similarly.
Yeah, exactly. So we got V-sit flutter kicks. How is somebody going to be feeling at this point? They've done some leg strength and now they're doing this core strength.
Yeah, this will be challenging, and especially after a harder workout, like the legs are going to be fatigued. It's going to be you're just going to want to get it done, but you still have to focus on what your spine is, what your hips are doing at that moment.
So folks, from a psychological standpoint, you basically have to get through what is part 2 of what's going to be a 4-part series. Now, when we're doing hip strength, it's not as challenging, and so it's almost like it is basically a cool down from the most challenging work to when we get to the hip mobility work being something that's pretty easy.
Yeah, and this hip strength routine is focusing on some of the eccentric component of the tissue while still you're moving forward, so it's a balance and proprioceptive exercise as well. So you should be a little bit tired at this point from the skipping and the core exercises. This shouldn't be difficult to perform as much as it will just you'll notice yourself being a little bit wobbly just because your nervous system is tired.
Right, exactly. So we've these bear crawls both forward and to the side are something people probably haven't seen. Where did you learn this, and what is the rationale behind these?
Well, this is a really neurologically taxing exercise. It's complete body, right? You're using hips and lower body to help stabilize the pelvis. You're using core to help stabilize the spine. You're using your upper body to maintain scapular stability. So operating with a good flat spine, not letting the pelvis rock side to side is important, but you're going to be tired while doing it.
Exactly. And we're doing some upper body stuff here. Why is that?
Yeah, this is all thoracic mobility while maintaining some good hip and lower body control. Same thing here where you're doing a repetition motion followed by a static endurance hold. You're cueing some of the hip stabilizers and then you're holding it for endurance.
And folks, so know that there's been other times in the videos where you're just doing hip thrusts or single leg hip thrusts and you're just doing reps. On that one, you're doing a hold. Mm-hmm. Okay, cue for the iron cross. What would you tell an athlete to do these properly?
Gravity dictates the motion, so don't try to force the legs side to side. You're just letting gravity take you over. You also want to operate nice, slow, controlled rhythm. Sometimes I have to tell our athletes to slow it down because they're trying to rush through it. You want to just use the hands to create a little bit of overpressure at the end of the movement. In this one in particular with the straight leg raise, you want to make sure that you're maintaining contact with the ground with the lower back, so you're not really kicking the leg up as much as you're just trying to create a little bit of stretch on the hamstring.
Great. And folks, at this point, you should start to feel pretty good in terms of your heart rate and in terms of doing things like Groiners. We'll have log rolls up soon. This replaces your cool down. You're not going for a 5-minute jog after this.
No, this is the last thing that you're doing. It takes place on the ground, so the neurological demand is pretty low. You're just trying to create pure hip motion, so you're trying to keep the pelvis pretty stable. Like I said before, nice, slow, controlled movements. At this point, you should be tired, so it's something that should feel pretty nice just to kind of relax your way through.
Yeah, exactly. And so the log rolls, as Dr. Hansen likes to say, these will feel great.
Yeah, it should be one of your favorite exercises. One of the last ones that you're performing just feels a little, as Aaliyah would say, wiggly at the hip.
A little wiggly at the hip. That's fantastic. All right, Dr. Hansen, people can find you on Twitter at Dr. Richard Hansen and Roots Running. What is the Roots Running handles?
Roots_running on both Twitter and Instagram.
Okay, folks, we've got one more. We've got phase 5 coming up after this.
Thanks, guys.